Wacky Wednesday, hump day! We're back at it. It's been a hot minute. I got asked the other day at work from my manager, Jen Bayer, who's one of my favorites. I love you. And I got to give a shout out to a couple other people. Aaliyah and Brianna Smith's back. It just made my day so much better. I just want to give a shout out to all of them. Love you guys from the bottom of my heart. I love you. Love you. So, Wacky Wednesday, we're back at it, moving the chains. It's been a hot minute, but I was getting to is, she was asking me, like, I haven't posted any content lately, but then I got news Monday when I was at work. The Jets, 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 gave their two guys from their draft class with, what's the guy's name? Jermaine Johnson and the 2022 draft class with Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, and those guys. So they got them locked up from the Joe Douglas's regime, who I think did a pretty nice job, but he missed on the two key positions you cannot whiff on: quarterback, left tackle. He missed on both, Zach Wilson and Becton. We all know what happened. So he got paid. Garrett Wilson got paid, and then Sauce Gardner. So I wanted to dive into that today, just of what I thought was going on with the Jets and what this means for both players. And then the Jets moving forward. And then I also wanted to touch on the Chicago Bears, which, again, I love my Chicago family. But what the fuck are you doing? You're giving Ryan Poles a contract. He hasn't done anything. I'll touch on that because I got a hot take for that one. So let's start off with the Jets. So the first contract I got noted of the other day at work was Garrett Wilson. So I wrote down my notes here. 4 years, $130 million, $90 million guaranteed. Here's a fun fact for you. It's the first time in NFL history that a wide receiver has received an average of over $31 million after only playing 3 years, because he's only played 3 years. And listen, he's a productive player. He's a high-end guy, no bullshit, low-key, doesn't bitch, not a diva. Got trained well at Ohio State from Brian Hartline and that crew of receivers that he grew up with Olave and Marvin Harrison, and the pipeline's been going on. And I do think they needed to sign him just because, listen, the Jets' offense has been a joke last couple of years. I know Aaron was there last year, and he was better than the year before because he got hurt. But it just helps when you got a guy like this. And I would think you got to lock down a guy like this that can help your offense out. I always thought it ran through Breece Hall, but he's been hurt. 2022, he was great. I'll never forget that Green Bay game the game up in Green Bay when they upset the Jets. That was Aaron Rodgers last year in Green Bay, where it was just a shit show. But he's been hurt. He's been in and out of the lineup. He's a great running back, one of the best ones in football. But it's hard to stay healthy with him. So it does help that you have a guy like Garrett Wilson who can make plays for you in the pass game. It is a little crazy, the money. $130 million. That's $30 million a year for a receiver. I don't know if I'd be putting that much money into it. But I do think the Jets have done a serviceable job at building the other components of the team. Usually you build your team from inside out, not inside in, receivers in. But I think the Jets have done a nice job with that. Their offensive line's been pretty good. I love what's the kid's name? Fashanu from Penn State. I'm trying to remember his name. He's a good player. I like Vera Tucker from USC. I'm not a big USC fan, but I like him as a talent. He's been hurt a little bit, but he's pretty good. Jets have a good front going here. They got to go to the line, run the ball. Aaron Glenn's your new coach. So, and I'll get to that with Sauce Gardner in a second, but I do think that this, to me, with Garrett Wilson makes sense. He's been, the quarterback position has been awful in New York, and he's kind of been the one lone bright spot. So I appreciate the Jets doing that. I think they're going to give him the contract in terms of that because, they get it out of the way, and then, when you get your new quarterback in there, because I don't think Justin Fields is going to last. Listen, I like Justin Fields, the guy. I loved him out of Ohio State. But to me right now, I don't see it lasting long. It's just my take and my interpretation of it. I just don't see it lasting. And he's kind of proven what he is in this league. Great runner, kind of iffy as a passer. But he is what he is. So I just kind of worry about that moving forward with the Jets. But I do think they have a good foundation in place. And Aaron Glenn, I think, could be a good hire. We'll see. Really thought, you got to go offensive. I feel like Jets have gone kind of defensive last couple times. I thought it was Rex Ryan, but then Aaron Glenn got the job. So I wanted to touch on Sauce Gardner. So he got it 4 years, $120 million, $30.1 million annually per year for him. That's a little risky to me. Now, it's the right move, and you had to go get a corner because he's big and he's long, and I got all that. The first 2 years of Sauce, I was like, whoa, okay. Now I know why he was elite. I know he went to Cincinnati, but excuse me, be that as it may, the kid's a stud. Now, my only knock on Sauce Gardner, he had a down year last year, is I don't like his tackling. And for a guy that's that big to not tackle, I don't know why. I go back to the Raider game a couple years ago, Sunday Night Football in Vegas, and Josh Jacobs breaks up that huge chunk run, and he doesn't want to tackle. Like, come on, bro. Football's all about physicality. I feel like I was watching a Miami Dolphin a game. They just didn't want to hit anybody. So, I do think Sauce Gardner is going to get back on track this year because Aaron Glenn is a former DB at heart, and I just feel like the Jets defensively have pieces in place to make this thing work. We'll see what happens. They got to fill the spot of C.J. Mosley. He just retired. I've always loved C.J. Mosley going back to Alabama, and then he was with the Ravens. I just knew jump that just fits the Ravens and their culture. So I just think the Jets, to me, and I'll do my season predictions in about a month or soon. I'm not going to spoil it for you. But, I think the Jets are going to be kind of middle. I think they have a chance to be. But it just all comes down to what you get from Justin Fields and what happens there. So I was writing down my notes, too, so Sauce Gardner got paid $30.1 million. So I'm reading here the next couple cornerbacks after him getting paid annually. Some of them I agree with. A lot of them I don't. Jalen Ramsey getting paid $24.1 million. Absolutely hell no not. He's too old. He's been bouncing around. He's not really the most it guy. I think he's past his prime. I think the guy that's underpaid to me is Patrick Surtain, the second from Denver. I hate the Broncos. You guys know me. I'm a Raider fan. Repping my Raiders right there. I can't stand him, but I admire the guy's talent. His dad was a pro in this league. Pat Surtain played for the Dolphins, Chiefs back in the day. Chase Matheson knows all about that. But I just, I would bump him up a little bit higher, but I get that the Broncos didn't really want to do that right away because he's only played in the league a couple of years. And I feel like last couple of years, he's kind of taking it to another level. Him and Devontae going at it. Those matchups were really good. The guy that I think I would bump down, probably in that Jalen Ramsey class, to me is J.C. Horn. I love J.C. Horn as a player. I loved him. His dad was a stud in the league, Joe Horn, the Saints guy. He always had that famous, scored the touchdown, and he went underneath the goalpost, had the cell phone. You guys don't know that, go YouTube it. It's pretty funny. It was a cool celebration back in the mid-2000s with the Saints when they were kind of eh. So his dad was a great player. I think J.C. Horn's a really good player. I loved him coming out of South Carolina. I thought he was big, long, lengthy, had 6 picks, was like a stud. But he's just been hit by the injury bug. And, excuse me, I will never forget when he went up to Seattle. It was Panthers-Seahawks in Seattle. And I remember he took on DK Metcalf and shadowed him the whole game. That, to me, was when I went, J.C. Horn could play in this league. I think he had a pick in that game, too. It might have been 2022. I can't remember. But that was when I went, okay, J.C. Horn could play in this league. And then Derek Stingley, obviously, is kind of a weird case study because if you watched him like 19 LSU, you're like, whoa, this guy could play. And I think Jordan Love, Utah State, they went down to LSU, and that was the Joe Burrow team, which was just so loaded, it was insanity. But he picked off Jordan Love in that game, so I've kind of had an eye on Derek Stingley for a long time. I trust a couple scouts that I know, Daniel Jeremiah, Bucky Brooks, and those guys. They know what they're talking about. And, that 19 year, I was like, well, come out, And then 2020 kind of stayed, didn't work out as well. And then he still got picked high. And he's making $30 million a year. He had a great year last year. I mean, the last couple of years, he's just been a ball hawk. Very good instincts. Tracks the ball well. I think his dad might have played in the league. So very good family genes and that sort of thing. So my takeaway on the Jets is, look, I mean, you got to bank on the quarterback. I think we'll see how the Justin Fields experiment works. But now you got your receiver locked up. And you got your O-line in place. You got to fit some piecing parts. but I feel like your O-line's in place, and I really feel like there's some momentum going on in New York. Finally, maybe, fingers crossed. So, I got to touch on this because I did want to throw one more thing in. I want to talk about this top 10 list of quarterbacks that I saw on here. So, I was reading it the other day, and, it was scouts and executives and coaches that have coached them or whatever. Personnel people. Almost all of them I agreed with. Okay, so they had Mahomes, they had Burrow, they had Allen, Herbert, you could put them wherever. Okay? But there's somebody I saw on there that everybody's bitching about, and that's Jalen Hurts. Listen, man, he won a Super Bowl. He did. And you know what? He's a good player. But there were times last year where, they didn't throw the ball as much. And that's okay. They still won, and he was a big part of their success. You take out the tush push, what is he? That's what I got to ask myself. Because I don't know what Jalen Hurts is. I mean, he throws a pretty deep ball. He's gotten a lot better gradually. But, we don't need to put him on that. We can if we want. But where he lands, it doesn't matter. To me, I mean, would I go with Jared Goff over him? Probably not. I mean, it's nitpicking. But the one guy that I loved that was on there was my man, Baker Money Maker Mayfield. That's my doppelganger. That's my guy. I love this kid. The gamer, the fight. He's got this passion. He reminds me of myself. Kind of looks like me with the doppelganger with the beard gang on point. Bang, bang. And then, I saw an executive say he's just got this fuck it like mentality. I love that. He's got some Brett Favre gene in him. He's running around. He's got that Brett Favre enthusiasm all morphed into one. And he is and I was confused with him because, he gets to Cleveland, and Cleveland's just, Jesus Christ. He's talking about shit show. And he got him in the playoffs. And then Baker, early on was, a little immature. It's okay. Studies show that women mature more than men. I'm just being honest. And I was worried because they had Tom there, and then he left, retired, and we didn't know what the situation was going to be down in there at quarterback, and he's just flourished. It has not skipped a beat. He's trigger man behind it. I think he fits that culture down there. Kind of underlooked. Chip on my shoulder. Fuck it. I'm going to do this. And I'm just happy for Baker. And he deserves to be in the top 10. Last 2 years, I think he's thrown 80 touchdowns. I mean, it's just crazy. And, it's not like Tampa Bay's got, they got good receivers. I love Mike Evans. I've been a fan since, A&M. He was one of the few guys that I went, yep, that's going to work on Sundays. Sammy was right. But I do think that that list is fair to me. And I'm excited to see what Tampa Bay does. And I just laugh at these people that think Atlanta's going to do something I love Michael Penix. I like him a lot. But I don't trust their organization as far as I can throw him. So last but not least, I want to touch on the Chicago Bears because big news broken out. I'm bringing the ESPN sound on. Ryan Poles got extended. My first reaction was priceless. So typical Chicago Bears. Dumb shit. I don't get it. And then I was watching Chicago radio. They think the same thing. And I'm writing this down and I'm screenshotting, trying to think of stuff to talk about. Do we not forget, he's 15-36. Time out. 15 games since he took over. And listen, we can applaud him, and I can go, yeah, you got Caleb, man. Got that trade. Woo! Yeah, I got all that. I got it. But I got some red flags with him. Now, he's had some hits, Darnell Wright and, stuff like that. But he drafted that Venus Williams kid from Tennessee, which still don't get. Bear fans know this. I just kind of, still kind of cringe that we knew he was going to take Caleb number one because that was a given the whole time. The whole time. Not disputing that, okay? But they were going to take him the whole time. But you didn't even bring any other guys in to interview? I think every team has done that. In my life, every team, when you're drafting that high, you bring in every quarterback of that class and you interview them, see how they mesh, how they gel with each other. And Ryan Poles thought he was better than that? That just bothered me. So, and listen, I'm pulling for the Bears this year. I hope they do well. I hope they don't, because I'm a Packer fan. And Mike Kessling, I'm talking to you, brother. We hope the Lions do well, too. But the Bears got an uphill battle, okay? And is Ben Johnson elite? I mean, God, man, he's called plays. We got it, but I've seen this movie. Like, come on. So I got to see what happens in Chicago. I think it could go well, but it comes down to that quarterback. And one of the knocks I've heard already is he's moody, and, everybody's making a big deal about him being gay. I don't give a rip about all that. What I care about Caleb is, I said this prior, this is his time now. Like, I'm going to be harder on you. And I was hard on him when he came out because I don't like the moodiness. I don't like the tough, all that stuff he has. But it's the moodiness, it's the nail painting, and again, I go back to that. I don't mind if you paint nails, but I'm not cheering for you when you went, fuck Notre Dame on him, you idiot. Stupid. So, we'll see in Chicago, but I hated that. I didn't love that extension. I didn't get it. I think the Bears are really turning in the Pittsburgh Steelers to me of the NFC. I'm being dead serious. I mean, it just seems like they're putting all their money on, from all my life, defense, and it's just, come on. And again, like the Bears could build like the Jordan Bulls team. If you do not have great ownership, you're fucked. So as long as McCaskey's running it and Kevin Warren, who don't even get me started on him, he does not deserve to be talked about because he tried canceling Big Ten football. Huh, okay. Imagine doing that in the South. Okay, I got a couple cousins, Alex, Ariola, and Andrew, talking to you guys, that have been to SEC, that linked to Tennessee, and then Annabeth, my cousin Alex's fiance, went to Georgia. Kevin Warren, if he pulled that shit and canceled SEC football for a year, he'd get lynched tomorrow. Be like Billy Bats of Goodfellas, okay? So, I just don't understand the Bears. Are they going to move? It's just a fucked up situation. But this is what the Bears do. They're a fucked up organization. They can't get out of their own way, and I don't know if they ever will. So, that's all I want to touch on here tonight. I love you guys. Hope you guys are doing well. Happy hump day. Adios. Godspeed.